joined now here by Marc Alessi. He's the founder and CEO of SynchroPET, and he's going to talk about data in personalized medicine, which is again on a health day a perfect topic here to kind of wrap up our afternoon. So Marc, let me turn it over to you. You got a nice backdrop there. That's an impressive high rise you're in, or a really good screen.
It's a very good screen
curtain here. All right, why don't you take it away? Thank you.
Very good. So yeah, Marc Alessi, CEO and founder of SynchroPET, and we're focused on bringing more data into medical imaging for PET, positron emission tomography imaging, but also PET CT and PET MRI. And to explain a little bit of the market, PET is a quantitative imaging modality, and it tells you what the cells are doing while they're doing it. So the more quantitative you can make it, the better it is when you pair it up with other imaging modalities. A little bit about my team. So I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. I sit on the board of 2 hospitals here in New York. And we launched SynchroPET because we saw an amazing opportunity in the healthcare space with this technology. My CTO, Aaron McFarland, has years of experience building some of the first PET and PET MRI devices that were brought to market back in 2001, which sold to Siemens. He ended up going to work for Siemens. So he knows the market really well. And the rest of my team, again, seasoned team members. Our inventor is our CSO, David Schleier, who's out of Brookhaven National Lab. So PET is important, like I said, because of the quantitative nature of the data it provides. And to explain that, an MRI or a CAT scan or an X-ray is a snapshot of what's happening in the body. And it's got very good, crisp, clean picture. PET is a movie, and you're watching what the cells are doing while they're doing it. And so it's superior at finding cancer, for example, even when a tumor isn't present yet. So a picture can't tell you that, but watching that movie and watching what the cells are doing and how they're behaving can tell you if they're acting like cancer cells as opposed to normal cells. And this is also true with other diseases like neuronal diseases like Alzheimer's and such. So as we move towards personalized medicine and away from the macro treatment of our population, having this kind of data is important. So PET is really important to the future of not only imaging, but medicine in general. The problem in the market is we could make PET a whole lot more quantitative if we knew with specificity how much radio tracer was in the artery at the time of the PET scan. And the only way to do that today is with an arterial catheter, which this is a picture of, which is really painful and problematic. So you have two areas of PET where it's used: in research, when you're doing drug development, or you're researching disease, or in the clinic, in hospitals, when you're treating patients. If you're treating frail cancer patients, you're not doing an arterial catheter during a PET scan to try to make the PET scan more accurate and useful. They do what is called an SUV model estimate. In research, if you're developing a new radio tracer for PET, chemo treatment for cancer patients, personalized treatments, unfortunately, sometimes you need to do this arterial catheter. And, or if you're doing research, you have to get people to sign up to say, yes, you can do this really painful procedure on me that's not necessarily necessary for me, so you can have more accurate results for your research. So having a non-invasive way to do that has been a goal of the industry. If we could provide a non-invasive input function for PET to determine how much radio tracer, that's the input function, is in the artery at the time of a traditional PET scan, it unlocks a new amount of potential for drug development. It actually expedites drug development and pharmaceutical development, personalized medicine and theranostics. So we've developed at SynchroPET this non-invasive manner. We build the world's smallest PET scanners, and I'll get to how we do that in a second. And we wrap the human wrist or ankle with a PET scanner. and that images the artery and tells you how much radio tracer is there. Now, you use this in conjunction with a larger PET scanner. It doesn't matter whose PET scanner you're using. Any of the big strategic companies, Siemens, GE, Philips, Samsung, Hitachi, whoever's making that larger PET scanner, our device makes it more useful, accurate. So I think I just said, I didn't mention, but we're at beta at Cornell Medicine in New York. And we're currently taking human data, which the industry has been looking for from us as we develop this product. The PET market is about a $2.1 billion market annually. We say that our addressable market is 750 million because we're taking a look at the interviews that we've done with end users and customers, and how many out of 10 or 20 have said that they want to use this device and they're ready to buy it when it's commercially available. But the total addressable market is 2.1 billion. We believe that all PET centers eventually will need this device. There's 6,000 PET scanners worldwide, 200 being sold every year. These are high value and high margin devices. So although those numbers look small, even Siemens and GE that need billion-dollar markets only sell about 200 devices a year. So just to understand the context of the market. Our IP was developed at Brookhaven National Lab, which is a Department of Energy facility. They had one of the world's greatest medical departments up until about 3-4 years ago, when the US Department of Energy said, why are we in medical imaging? We do energy. But they were one of the original inventors of PET. Brookhaven National Lab came up with the most used radio tracer in the world, FDG 18, which is superior at finding cancer. So we have advisors, and our chief scientific officer are some of the world's preeminent PET experts. And they developed a better way to build PET scanners than is currently being done on the market. So I showed you one device, but we have a platform, a whole new way to build PET scanners, where we could build them much smaller than anybody, much less expensive than anybody else, and it's very scalable. It's very easy for us to build different kinds of devices without a lot of engineering effort. So why we focused on this now and miniaturizing and starting with the arterial PET scanner as opposed to just running and doing a full body PET scan? And it's because there's plenty of PET scanners out there in the marketplace, and they need this device. This device fits into the workflow of all those PET scanners that are out in the market. And PET is well positioned to grow exponentially with theranostics and personalized medicine. It's essential. And we help make that happen. And so we're at the right time and the right place to bring this product to market. And that's why we're focused on that device first. So like I said, we are at beta at Cornell Medicine. We published our first paper at Cornell, which was a performance test, basically the performance of our device. It was very promising. And now we're obtaining clinical data, which is the next step. And we're getting unsolicited calls for the device. We haven't released it as a commercial product yet. The nature of our competition, there isn't necessarily competition, there's collaboration potential with all of the major producers of PET scanners around the world. The folks that are trying to do similar things to us, so if you aren't using the arterial PET scanner, there's one company that has a system that isn't necessarily as sensitive as ours. Can't tell you how much radio tracers in the artery, but it can tell you if the radio tracer got into the artery. The injection didn't miss the artery. That's as far as they go. It's hard to build a PET ring as small as us without infringing our patents. So that's one of the main reasons we don't have competition yet. The arterial catheter, which I already explained, or the SUV model. The competition is other methodologies that have proven to be, either really painful or not good enough. So our go-to-market strategy, we're going to finish our beta process, start selling to research labs where they don't need the FDA. They go through an IRB process to use this as a research tool. And then as we raise our Series A, we're going to go through the FDA 510(k) process and begin clinical sales by the end of 2023. And then we'll look at other products in our product line development, which I can show you a couple of them in a second. But you know, the prospect of just selling 20 or 30 units makes this a very lucrative proposition because of the cost of these devices and the margin. So the other potential products that we have in our product line development that again add more data for researchers is because we could build these really small PET scanners. This is the smallest PET scanner in the world, the RACAP. I don't know if you can see my mouse running around its head right now, my computer's mouse. And we take, that ring is the first time that a rat can wear a PET scanner and be awake during imaging. So for folks conducting neuronal studies for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, drug addiction, autism, this is a game changer, because if you have to anesthetize the animal, that anesthesia has a confounding effect on test results. Once we built a ring that small, we retrofitted it into small animal MRI devices. Now you can do small animal PET MRI of mice while you're doing cancer studies or neuronal studies, and that opens up a whole new level of opportunity for research. And then in the human market, there's a big demand for small PET scanners that could fit around the human head and then fit into an MRI. PET MRI is the part of the future of PET, and but being able to be agile and make really small scanners for body parts is where we think we have a niche market. So that's in a nutshell of what we're up to at SynchroPET. We truly believe that this additional quantitative information will help move the patient outcomes in the right direction. And for those of you who are focused on personalized medicine and theranostics, the definition, or to put it into perspective, I mentioned the macro treatment. If somebody has cancer and there's a treatment protocol for millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people, that you give this course of chemotherapy and then radiation. Where research is going now is we're going to be able to pinpoint for the individual the exact radio tracer. We might be able to create a radio tracer specifically for them with their own biomarkers, but having the specificity and knowing that the tracer is getting to the region of interest and how much is getting there and how much is being absorbed, PET is a big part of that. So if we want that specificity, which would make a huge difference in outcomes and also eliminate a lot of the side effects, we're going to need PET imaging to be able to expand into this market.
Mark, thank you very much. Very interesting. Very technology driven. Wow. So exciting types of prospects here in this area, and the fact that, as you said, you're making movies about cells, right? You're out really, you're getting well beyond just the static image, and you're really creating kind of a story. It kind of reminds me of the old adage. I had a client years ago specialized in analog meters, and I remember we asked the question, how come you don't use digital? And I always, to this day, and this is like almost 40 years ago, I remember his answer. He goes, digital only tells you exactly where you are. Analog tells you where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And sort of that cell movie kind of piece, it strikes me a little bit similar to that type of thing. You're able to get a much more, it's kind of like the widescreen picture box for the movies, right? When I saw Gandhi in 1982, I saw it at the Ziegfeld Theater, and it was the only movie on the screen. And you got all the edges, right? When they put it on television, it kind of, you lose some of it. It kind of crops it. I also found interesting that from a collaborative standpoint, working with the bigger companies, right? You're not necessarily saying, hey, we're here to take Siemens out. You're looking to really be a complementary add-on to what they do, which is fascinating from a market standpoint, and an investment standpoint. You're not, and as you said, you sell a couple of dozen of these and at those kinds of price points and margins, and it's a game changer right out of the chute, which is exciting. And thank you, as a Long Islander, thank you for the plug for Brookhaven National Labs. It's one of our underappreciated crown jewels out here. And they've done a lot of great work over the years, as you've mentioned. And same thing, 30 something years ago, when I was in public accounting, I actually got to propose on the audit work for that. And I remember going out there, and it was a fascinating day, as you kind of do, to John's earlier point about due diligence and stuff. Going out and kicking the tires, it was a fascinating day. Well, listen, your speaker information's in the tab if anybody wanted to otherwise reach out. But you did a great job. Thanks for closing out our health and wellness day here on a real high note. Really appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck going forward. And please stay in touch.
Will do. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Mark.